way that contractors get the lowest bid is by misclassifying, by saying that someone that's doing 8 hours in bricklaying is doing 4 hours in bricklaying and 4 hours as general labor, which is wage theft.
So you're not only organizing in that area, you are also, like I said, president of the Seven Mountains Central Labor Council in Pennsylvania, and you have been doing a lot of work with the building trades in passing local ordinances and electing local politicians, particularly on, their friendliness to labor. So talk to us about both of those things. How, and we can start with the ordinances. Explain to us what the ordinances that you have been able to get passed are, and how you built up a coalition for a successful campaign.
So, as some background, Center County has, which is where State College, Penn State, and is one of the 4 counties in our labor council. The most populous one, has an enormous amount of development in the State College area. A lot of it is just there's always some kind of building project going on at Penn State's campus, but just the area is growing, and it has been growing for a long time. And there's a lot of major construction going on, both public and private development. It also has a major issue with worker safety, and there have been a number of worker deaths on the job, primarily within the construction trades, including a Days Inn worker that fell to his death. He was from Maryland. He was working on, he was working for a contractor, local contractor, as the general contractor, but was directly employed by a subcontractor based in Maryland. And he was actually here on the job from Maryland and fell to his death. It's really, I think, a basic, idea that a worker should be able to come home safely from their job at the end of their shift. And this is not the reality for construction workers in our area. And so what we did is we looked at different ways that we could actually try to address that. We can't do that much about private development because state law in Pennsylvania restricts local government from a lot of regulations for private business. Basically, the only city in Pennsylvania that can really get away with regulating private business is Philadelphia, because of the way the municipal code is written. And so one way that we can do something is actually create some standards that, so at least on public projects, they have to meet certain standards. And it's typically called a responsible contractor ordinance. Some places it's called a responsible bidder ordinance, but it's basically changing the local government's purchasing code to say, before we enter into a contract for someone for construction work, they have to meet these kinds of pre-qualifications. And usually it's saying that we haven't committed, significant wage and hours violations over the past couple of years. We haven't committed significant OSHA violations. We haven't been debarred by any public agency. And we have the necessary craft labor to be able to do this job, and that we have the necessary apprentices or, apprentice completers within the respective craft, category to be able to do this job correctly.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
So it's basically just a bare minimum. We're not, a rat contractor, and, we actually use trained workers. It's a very, very basic kind of proposal. And it's important because under Pennsylvania law, local government is obligated to accept the lowest quote unquote responsible bid, but the term responsible is completely undefined. And so in practice, what it means is they have to submit the lowest bid. And the way that contractors get the lowest bid is by misclassifying their workers, by saying that someone that's doing 8 hours in bricklaying is doing 4 hours in bricklaying and 4 hours as general labor, which is wage theft, and actually led to one of our local contractors being the subject of the largest criminal prevailing wage case in U.S. history, and paying back over 20 million in stolen wages. And this particular company, even after stealing $20 million from their employees, can go and bid on a public project. They're in the process of potentially getting debarred from, Pennsylvania Department of Transportation projects. But if they bid on a local government project and they're the lowest bid, local government has to take that bid, which means that taxpayer dollars are going to a company that's stealing money from its workers. And so that's what we kind of sought to do, was to give local government the ability to actually set standards, saying that tax dollars aren't going to go to contractors that are cutting corners on jobs, that are stealing wages from their workers, that aren't doing good work and aren't doing their work honestly. And we managed to actually pass that at the county level, which was much more difficult because, Center County is, I would say after the election, I would say it's probably a blue county, but before that, I would have said it's a pretty purple county. It's not that long since it was a Republican-controlled county, and we passed it at the county level, and then overwhelmingly, after a lot of political work and mobilization, reelected the majority commissioners that helped us pass it, even though the local GOP was throwing the kitchen sink at trying to unseat them. And they actually got the highest vote totals of any county commissioners in county history. And a lot of that was that we were able to go to a lot of our members, a lot of whom are Republicans. A lot of them are Republicans,
right.
Especially in the trades, and say, look, they are actually delivering for you. They are doing tangible things to make you safer, to make jobs, to provide jobs for you locally. So they're not, bringing in unskilled workers from, other counties, that there are jobs for apprentices right here. And so it really, I was a nervous wreck heading into the election. And, ultimately we were able to fight and get it at the county level and deliver pretty much a mandate that, that's what voters wanted. Right. And we built a coalition of the trades. We built a lot of support from elected officials that were supportive, community groups, community leaders. It looked very different than most RCO fights, because at the final voting meeting that the county commission had, we outnumbered the contractors, and it wasn't all, union building trades folks. It was Penn State professors. It was elected officials. It was just community members. It was retirees. There were a couple of unorganized, construction workers there. We had a very diverse set of people speaking for why this was important to them, and that really helped pay off.
That's awesome. That's really great. And it was actually so successful that you've kind of began, occupying the headspace of some local Republican power players rent free. Is that? I think I've seen you on Facebook and Twitter. They're coming after you.
Oh yeah, they are salty about the Labor Council, and I will say, in full candor, we did spike the football a little bit after election night, so I think that we got a reaction from that. But ultimately, they are just dramatically out of touch if they think that attacking union workers in the year 2023 in Pennsylvania, of all places, is going to pay off for them. And if that's the route that they want to go, then by all means, I welcome them continuing down that road, because it's just a road to marginalizing themselves.
Have you written any? You've got a Substack, and you do freelance journalism sometimes. Have you written any sort of play-by-play of this of your RCO campaign that other labor councils could look at and use as their own roadmap?
I've been trying to think about the right place to do it, because I've thought about doing that because I think it would be helpful. And these measures have expanded dramatically throughout Pennsylvania over the past couple of years, and they've been in place even in places like Indiana and Ohio for a long time. I mean, it got very partisan in our area, mostly because we've got a ton of scab contractors headquartered here that bankroll the local GOP. But in a lot of places, it hasn't. I mean, it's been passed in Republican-controlled counties, Republican-controlled cities, including in Pennsylvania. So I've thought about the best place to do it. Reporting, I'm too close to the story, even from I may be an advocacy journalist, but I'm too close to the story to feel comfortable reporting on this, specifically. But yeah, it's something that I've definitely been looking at, trying to figure out how to write up, because I think that there's some good stuff that would be helpful for folks, in a wide range of areas, not just in, Democratic, places. And I've even talked to some folks in some more red counties in Pennsylvania that are interested in doing similar stuff.
Mike could reach out to NAB2 and get them to pay you to write up a training program, and you can tour the country talking to building councils.
Yeah. Well, I just got to say, I love the story, and I'm inspired, and I think that we can do some work here in North Alabama, and would love to be able to, learn from your success and try to implement that here in our neck of the woods.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate it, Connor. Thanks for taking the time.
All right. Thanks, fellas. Always happy to be on.
Yeah, appreciate you. Keep up the good work.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.